I would like to share with you a story that I shared with the teachers not too long ago. Not sure if you have heard of the great novel called Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's one of my favorite readings, favorite works. I'm not going to talk to you about Lord of the Rings today, but I would like to talk to you a story written by J.R.R. Tolkien, the author who wrote Lord of the Rings. Tolkien, when he began writing the Lord of the Rings, he wanted to write something about English mythology that is as complicated or as grand or as epic as the Greek and the Roman mythology. And so he started out writing about different kingdoms, inventing new characters and new languages. And it was very, very complicated. It was an epic piece of work. And at a certain stage, while he was writing the story, he got stuck because things became so complicated, so many subplots, and the story became so intricate. And back then, while he was writing the story, the Second World War started, and the invasion of England was imminent. And so he was stuck with his story, and he was scared for his life. He didn't have to go to work. He didn't have to go to war because of his age, but he went through World War I, and he was so worried for himself and for his country. And then he was stuck. And so he was at a stage where he was tired and he was discouraged. And at that moment, he started writing a different story, something perhaps something simpler or smaller in scale. And he wrote a short story called Leaf by Nigel. The main character of the story is Nigel. And what a name for him. It's not a great name at all. The name simply means fiddling and working in an ineffective way. So not a great name at all. Nigel was a painter. And like this school, every day he walked by his house, he would come across this tree, very much like the tree we have in the roundabout. And because he's a painter, he had these grand plans for himself. Nigel wanted to paint a beautiful leaf, and then a beautiful tree, and then eventually a beautiful forest, a canvas that is so big and a painting so grand that would impress everybody. Unfortunately, that wasn't Nigel's forte. Nigel's forte was drawing pieces of leaves, the intricacy of the leaf itself. He wasn't very good at drawing a big forest. Not only that, Nigel actually has a very kind heart. And so every time he would start drawing, he would get held back because people would ask him to do things, and inevitably he wouldn't be able to say no, and he would help these people. And in particular, he had a neighbor who badgers him a lot and asks him to do things for him. So day after day, Nigel started to panic because he looked at the canvas and he saw that nothing was really done except for one piece of leaf that he drew. And Nigel realized that he had to take a long trip very, very soon, and so that added to his frustration. There was a deadline that he could not meet. So all he was able to show was this one particular leaf. And his neighbor, Parrish, kept badgering him again. And so on the eve of his long journey, Nigel was still not able to draw anything except for this leaf that he's holding in his right hand right there. And so very, very frustrated. But regardless, Nigel had to take this trip, and he had to leave his home because he just had to go. And so he went on this long trip over the mountains, went a very long distance away from his home. And after this long journey, he came to this place and met two persons. One is Justice, one is Mercy. Justice went to Nigel, and with a very firm voice and said, "What do you have to show for your life except for this simple piece of painting? What else do you have to show?" And Nigel was really down because, even though he wasn't able to draw a forest, he put in a lot of effort drawing this piece of leaf. So he was downcast and he walked away. Justice left him alone, and he came to this person called Mercy. And Mercy took Nigel to this big tree. And as Nigel walked close to this tree, he found out that the tree looked strangely familiar. And as he walked closer and closer, he realized that the leaves were very much like that one piece of leaf that he drew. But it has grown. It has grown into a tree. And this tree has grown into a forest. And as he took another step back and he looked further, the leaf that he drew not only became a tree and became a forest, it had become a beautiful, beautiful landscape. And this is the story one of the greatest writers, Tolkien, wrote in the middle of his disheartened days. Like Nigel, many of us probably wonder what we have to show for our lives. On the eve of our exam, we wonder if we will be able to do well in the exams. The grade 12 boys, the leaders of the school, they might wonder, with the remaining days that they have at the school, what do they have to show? They might have led a good group of people doing some good things, but there are so many things they probably want to finish, but they would not have enough time to do it. So we're all Nigel in a way. But I would like to encourage you that whatever you do, if you do it wholeheartedly, it will not go in vain. And as like the good book says in the Bible, in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58, it says, "Therefore, my dear brothers, stand firm and let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because your hard work will not go in vain." Dear teachers and students, you might think that the things that you do are small, but somebody is watching and somebody is supporting you, and someday your labor will bear fruit. Do not lose heart. Thank you.